The opinions expressed in the video you are about to see are solely those of BoatTest.com and its test captain.
This is a Swift 52, a boater's boat. Definitely good looking, but it's made to be away from the dock. So I'm going to put it on a full test and performance review. For BoatTest.com, I'm Captain Steve.
Everything about the Swift 52 tells of her heritage as a cruising yacht, from the beefy ground tackle at the bow to the easy-to-access and very spacious engine room. Let's start by taking a look at the features of the bow first.
As we come forward from the helm, we've got a Portuguese bridge that wraps all the way around. Great place to be off watch. A walkthrough will get you to the foredeck, and of course if it's not a rainy day, you're going to have cushions on this seat so you have nice forward-facing visibility. Fully forward, look at the good-sized bollards we have here. A huge winch with accommodations for dual anchors for either having a spare anchor or possibly a Bahamian moor.
Now let's move on into the engine room.
Fully forward, we have a fixed firefighting system right over the hot water heater. It's flanked by the two fuel tanks with a combined fuel capacity of 1,057 gallons. Now you can see there are two very beefy straps securing the fuel tanks in place. I like to see that. Raycor filter attached to the front, raw water strainer for the main engine, remote shutoff for the engine and generator fuel supply. Both the starboard engine and the generator are feeding from this starboard tank. And if you look down below, you'll see we have ball valves going to an interconnect that will level the fuel between the two tanks. I have an easy view of the prop shaft, the dripless shaft seal, and the through-hole fitting for the water inlet with a see-through hose to show the water flowing through. And look at the rubber tips on the hose clamp so you don't catch yourself on sharp edges. And I have ample space on the outside of the engines, still ducking 4 feet 8 inches of overhead clearance.
Let's move over to the helm and look at some of the features there.
The helm is positioned on an 8-inch elevated platform above the main deck. The Beneteau helm seat, very comfortable, electrically operated for fore and aft, up and down, as well as reclining. You've also got a flip-down footrest. Now you've got a 29-inch leather-wrapped destroyer wheel. Over on the right-hand side, digital engine controls, and the sticks are nice and high and comfortable. Just ahead, Lenco trim tab controls with LED indicators on the side, remote for the spotlight, bow and stern thruster controls over on the outside of the engine controls. Very happy with the location of the engine controls and the bow thruster because you're not going to be docking this boat by looking aft through the main salon. More than likely, you'll be opening up the side door to the Portuguese bridge and looking down the entire length of the boat while you have full control of the engines and the thrusters. Look at these window mullions. They're probably the smallest I've seen in class, but they're obviously very strong because the Swift 52 has an offshore CE rating B class for 16 people. What I'm surprised to see is the boat rides very level. Without the trim tabs, we stay nice and level. I thought I would be having to offset for the wind or a cross current, but that does not seem to be the case.
Even at planing speed, the 52 has a very solid, shippy feel to her. It actually handles like a much larger boat. She handles waves quite nicely thanks to the way her chines run fully forward to form spray rails, throwing water well off to the sides. Crossing the wake of the camera boat was anticlimactic as I barely felt anything and certainly found no tendency of the 52 to get pushed off of heading.
When you accelerate, the bow is going to come up about 10 degrees, but I didn't lose any sight of the horizon at all. Once you settle on plane, you've got about a 5-degree bow high attitude. Now you can combat that by bringing the trim tabs down, and that'll certainly lower the bow, but then you'll get a performance penalty. Now we are equipped with an optional autopilot, but I don't find it to be necessary. The 52 holds its heading very nicely in either a beam C, quartering C, head C. It seems to do a pretty good job on its own.
With twin 600 Cummins Mercruiser diesels powering our test boat, we reached the top speed of 24.7 knots at 3,100 RPM. At that speed, we were burning a combined 60 gallons per hour for a range of 391 nautical miles. Best cruise was found to be at 2250 RPM, where we were running at 14 knots with a 27 gallon per hour fuel burn for a range of 495 nautical miles. With that said, my hand seemed to settle the 52 at 2750 RPM and 20.9 knots. At that speed, we were burning 43.8 gallons per hour for a range of 454 nautical miles.
We had a time to plane of 7.2 seconds, and we reached 20 miles an hour in 8.6 seconds. Now this big destroyer wheel is very comfortable, and you've got 6 turns from lock to lock. Putting the wheel hard over, the Swift 52 comes around in a full circle in a little more than 2.5 boat lengths. I also find that the Swift 52 is very responsive to the helm. I'm in the Chesapeake Bay, which is absolutely loaded with crab pots. So every time one pops up, I just give a quick spin to the wheel, and we respond immediately to go around it.
For the cruising couple, the most important question might be how she handles in close quarters. The answer is that because of her deep, long keel, she has good directional stability. Just nudge the sticks in and out of gear and tap the thrusters to lay her over to the dock, and never be in a hurry.
So as we came into the dock, all I needed was one person to hand me a spring line, and then I had full controllability of keeping the boat in the dock. My wife easily could have hopped off the boat and handed me that line. So for a cruising couple, you can handle this boat just fine by yourself. Well, that's our full test and performance review of the Beneteau Swift 52. For BoatTest.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.